So this is Karen, and she's the designer of Mr. Foster. She loves Mr. Foster. So Karen, can you tell us how he came to be named Mr. Foster?
Well, he went through a few different names, but he wasn't quite sure that fit his personality very well. And so we were talking about, Mr. Bananas or just Mr. Monkey. And then finally out of a meeting, somebody just said, why don't we just call him Bananas Foster, Mr. Foster for short. And it stuck. We just thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
So he is now Mr. Foster.
Yeah, it's rather apropos, because when I think of Bananas Foster, I think of rum. And I make the leap to Mr. Foster in his smoking jacket in Jamaica. He's just, that photo we have in the catalog of him in the wicker chair.
He's just lounging on the porch, watching the waves.
It's his lifestyle. Yeah.
Yes. He's very dapper, gentle.
He is. He is.
And he had sort of a rough beginning.
I see that. That was Mr. Foster number 1.
This is the swatch.
He's the outtake.
Yes, he is the outtake. He is the swatch, and this is what I knit to design the pattern.
Okay, so let's get a little close-up on this guy. Now, Mr. Foster is a sock monkey.
He is a sock monkey.
Meaning what?
Meaning, well, in this case, it means that he's made out of sock yarn, and he follows a lot of the principles of sock construction, but he's not actually made of a sock.
Of an old sock.
Yeah, he's just made like a sock. So you actually see, whereas, if you bought a red heel sock and you actually sewed a sock monkey, the red heel becomes the mouth, and so he's got a red heel for a mouth, and the toe would become his head, and the toe is the head. So it's actually made just like a sock.
So you learn basically how to knit a sock, or the components of a sock.
Yeah, certain components.
If you made
because this is a heel, this is a toe.
Yep.
But the rest of him is quite different. It's just his body's about the same distance around as a standard sock.
Okay.
And it doesn't change the whole way up.
So he's tubular.
He's tubular, and he
is
knit in all one piece except for his tail and his ears.
Oh, so pretty easy construction.
Yes, yeah. The only parts that are sewn on are the ears and the tail, and there's little diagrams of where to sew them. And, so his tail is just knit as a big old tube.
Kind of like, not I-cord though, but
it's like a thick I-cord.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's densely knit, right? So
he
that the
is very
stuffing doesn't show through.
Yes,
yeah. Do you remember what the gauge is on him?
It's 8 stitches.
Okay, well, which is kind of typical sock knitting gauge too.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's on size 1s, and pretty much the gauge, because obviously he doesn't really have to fit anything, but as long as the gauge is the same for all of his outfits, his garments, and himself, everything will fit. Okay. Because it's just based on relativity to his body that the garments are sized. So as long as you're consistent, all his clothes will fit.
And so tell us about his clothes.
Well, let's make sure.
Technically, he is appropriately attired.
Yeah. Okay, well, Mr. Foster is wearing a fabulous red number.
Of a thermal union suit.
Yeah, he's wearing a union suit. We thought about pajamas for him, but I thought that this would be much.
Get in a little closer here. There we go.
I thought it would be way funnier for him to have a union suit because, they're just funny. Yeah. And something about
what makes them funny? Yes,
a monkey with a seat flap. Is just really funny.
It is funny, and he has a hole in the right place, so his tail comes through.
Little buttons, and all the buttons actually work.
Oh, that is so great for little kids to play with dressing him up.
Yep. And it also makes it a lot easier to undress him too, because he does have rather a large head for the size of his body. And then the smoking jacket wasn't really intended to be a smoking jacket. It's just a bathrobe.
Right. I call it a smoking jacket because that's what it reminds me of.
It's just the length of it's kind of short. It's one of the shorter robes, so it totally looks like a smoking jacket. So I was just thinking of, Mr. Foster and on a cold morning, because it was pretty cold while I was designing this. In fact, it was the week that we were all snowed in.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there curled up in my bathrobe on my couch writing this pattern. And so I made him a bathrobe very similar to mine, except mine is pink. So.
Oh, Mr. Foster would not be caught dead in pink.
No, not anymore. So.
Okay, I have the burning question.
Okay.
Does Mr. Foster have a girlfriend?
He's looking right now.
He's looking, and
he's a bit forlorn. I mean, we've been talking, and Valentine's Day kind of bummed him out a little bit because he doesn't have a Mrs. Monkey right now. So. He's looking. Okay. He's an eligible bachelor.
Oh, excellent. For all those monkeys out there.
Oh, yeah. I think just one might just catch his eye. You never know.
All right. Well, thank you, Karen.
Anytime.